Well, good evening. My name is Tom Pollock, and I'm the Executive Director of the Metro Baptist Center in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we're here tonight to talk to you about the UCAN system, which is a system that we've developed to be organized about the food and clothing pantry that we operate there in Indianapolis. In 1995, I moved to Indianapolis to take this job, and I came into a very big ministry. It had been going on for probably 7 or 8 years, and they did a good job of keeping track of all the people that came through. One of the things that I inherited was a system where, as a client came into our ministry, we were able to sit with them and get the information of where they're coming from and who they are. We would check their picture IDs and keep track of their children. And at the end of the interview, we would make a note of how we helped the person. Now, what was discouraging to me, we would take all that information, we'd put it in a folder, we'd go to what was then called the file room, and we'd take that folder and put it in a file cabinet. And that folder remained there until the client came back to us, and then we'd go back and retrieve the file cabinet from the file cabinet, and we would help the person again. Now, what was discouraging to me was the client really was in control. If I wanted to contact them and call them or invite them to a party or a picnic we were having, there's no way of doing that. So in about 1997, we began to think about how can we take all our hard copy information and put it on computer. And so at the time, we had about 10,000 files. And so we developed a system on a computer and then began to copy the files onto the computer. Now, this opened up many, many opportunities for us, and it was very helpful for us. And the system eventually became known as UCAN. Now, UCAN stands for Urban Christian Assistance Network. And before I go much further, I want to address the word urban. Now, here we are out in the country. Christine and I we're really in the country because we're used to being in the city. It's very nice out here. But I don't want you to be afraid of the word urban, because the truth is, the same people that you minister to at the Lord's Locker, in our state in Indiana, there are 13% of the people that live below the poverty level. There are many people that are in need of food, both in the city and in the country. Our prisons are overflowing, and we have people being released every day, and some are coming to Indianapolis, but some are coming to Franklin. Some are coming to Trafalgar. We have, crime is up everywhere. And so the same problems that we face in Indianapolis, you face here in Trafalgar. And so when I say the word urban, I'm simply saying that we all have, there's so many needs around us, no matter where you live, there are many needs, and so that's the word urban. So hopefully you'll feel comfortable in saying, yes, we are doing that kind of a ministry. We're doing the same kind of work. We may be doing it in greater numbers, but we are all doing the same work, and we're meeting the same amount of people. We're meeting the needs of the same people in many ways. So urban is the first word. The second word then is Christian. And as a Christian organization, we want to be distinctly Christian. When a person walks into our ministry, we want to shake their hand. We want to welcome them. We want to look them in the eye and let them know that God values that person as we value that person. And so Christian is really part of our method and part of our way of ministering to people. And I think we need to embrace that. We need to be distinctly Christian. We also see that the A stands for assistance. Now, our pantry, our ministry in Indianapolis, we help people with food. We help them with clothing. We have a 12-step Celebrate Recovery program. We do support groups. And so there are many ways of assisting people. It's a matter of looking around and saying, what are the needs? How can we, as the body of Christ, address the needs? And you have the same opportunities here. They may not be the same needs. You may not have the same hurts and hang-ups that we have, but we all have needs around us as we open our eyes and look how we can assist people. And then the final letter in that is network. How can pantries and churches work together to minister to the people that they minister to? And I think that's really the unique part of the UCAN system. It's built to work together with other food pantries. Now, the network that we're on has 3 food pantries on them. It has the Metro Baptist Center. It has Share and Care, which is a food pantry at Calvary Baptist Church in Greenwood. And at this point, we have Trafalgar. We have the Lord's Locker in the same network. And I'm sure there are not many people that come from Trafalgar to Indianapolis, but there may be some from Greenwood and Trafalgar, or Franklin and Trafalgar. And so there's such a great value in working together and knowing where people are coming from and how we can help them. And so that is part of how the system started. That's how UCAN came to be, is that we were wanting to have a system to be effective and efficient when we minister to people. You know, I had an experience recently that reminded me of the need for a UCAN system. We have at our pantry something called a giveaway table. It's actually not even a table, but a bookshelf. But when people come to us, they get clothing, and as they're walking out of the clothing room, there's a bookshelf with a sign on it that says you can take 3 free items. And so they can take 3 items off what we call the giveaway table. Well, a gentleman comes in. He's a homeless guy. His name is Jim, and he comes in pretty regular, and he gets a little sneaky with us. He doesn't sign in, but he'll say, well, I need to use the bathroom. So he goes back and he uses the bathroom, and as he's leaving, he'll look around the giveaway table, and if he sees something he wants, he just takes it and goes on. Well, it's not such a big deal that Jim is getting a little toy car or a little vase or whatever he gets. That's really not the issue. The issue is that we didn't have time to sit with Jim, see where he's at, and help him, and really help him, not just give him something, but help him. So I noticed he came in one time, and I was watching him very carefully, and I went off, and he didn't see me, so he reaches up to get something. I said, Jim, can we help you? And he says, well, no, I'm just using. I said, why don't you come on into my office, let's sit down, and let's just let's make this official. So we get into the office, and I see his ID, and I have a chance to talk with him, and we make up a list of clothing items, and so I send him back into the clothing room, and he can then come out and get something off the free table. Now, the value in that is I then can keep a note of how we were able to help Jim on that occasion. It's really just a very, very simple thing that we keep track of people that come in, and we keep notes, and we build relationships with each individual, and that individual is not building a relationship with the caregiver, but with the organization. So that's sort of the UCAN system. And so over the next the next 3 meetings together, I want to talk about 3 areas. One is, tonight, I want to look at the UCAN system. I just want to lay out how we use the UCAN system and maybe give you some of the thinking behind it, why we get this information or that information. So we'll spend some time doing that this evening. The next week, next Monday when we meet, we'll talk about the foundation of UCAN. What does the Bible say about helping others? Why are we helping others? How are we sharing with them the love of Christ? And then the final evening, we'll talk about application. How can you apply this system to your pantry or your organization? And so let's start this evening by just walking through and talking about the UCAN system. And so I want to begin with how we start and how we open up the UCAN system. So if we will put in our username and password, each caregiver is assigned a password and login. And this is very helpful that the caregiver and the one directing the caregiver is able to watch the progress of a caregiver, oversee their work, and help them. And so this is unique, and we're going to get that back in here in just a minute. So this is a unique character that is given to a caregiver. Now there are several different volunteer positions in a ministry, And so some are called to work in the clothing room. If you give away food, maybe somebody's in the food pantry. One of the key positions in our organization, and I think using the UCAN system, would be called a caregiver. Now, a caregiver is not a professional person. We steer away from the word counselor. We are not counselors. We are there to give Christian care. And so it's very intentional that we use the word caregiver. And so that's the primary position that we'll be talking about. So we enter the UCAN system by a password, and then we go to client. And so there are two ways of getting information from our two important pieces of information that we need. One is a picture ID. And so each person that comes in, we ask them for a picture ID. That might be a driver's license. That might be a Indiana State ID. Some might show us a bus pass or a military pass. But we need to see a picture ID. And so we then go using their last name. Today we're going to be using the name. We've created something, and it's UCAN is the name of the person we're working with. So we put in their last name, UCAN, and we search the system. And so UCAN is not there, and so we're going to add this client to our database. And so you'll see the information needed. Their last name is UCAN. Their first name is Bill. Bill does not have a middle initial. And you'll see there that it says Social Security number. We do not ask for the full Social Security number. We ask for the last 5 digits of the number. There's two ways of entering. One is the last name, and the other is the last 5 digits of the Social Security number. And so those two pieces of information. Now, I mentioned that there are two visible pictures piece of information that we see. One is the picture. The other is the birth date. And we get the birth date off of the identification card. And so those are two very vital pieces of information that we always ask for when a person comes in. Bill is a male, and we go to his race, and he is an other. Okay? You might ask, well, why do you ask for their race? Why is that important? Part of the UCAN system is building a picture of your client base. Now, in our ministry, 77% of the people that come to us are African American. And so we want to, as we think of what programs we can use, how we can minister to our group, we keep that in mind. Who is our group? What are their ages? What is their background? So all of those pieces of information help build a picture of our client base. And you notice on the bottom, this is just a training example. So we save that information. So all that information is put into the computer. We have about 35,000 people in our database at the Baptist Center. So the person has come, and they're asking for help with food, and so we are going to create a visit. So each time they come in, we create a visit. And we're going to add that visit. Now, the picture ID is one piece of information we ask for. The other is a utility bill or rent receipt. And so with that information, we'll then begin to build and input information. So we notice that on the bill, they live on Main Street, and we get their phone number and what type of phone. They may either have a cell phone or a landline, and so we get that information. That's an important piece of information there. Twice a year in our ministry, we do two big events. One is a block party, and one is the Operation Christmas. And so I will invite our clients to come to the block party. We have that on the 4th of July. And so I'll use a phone tree or a phone system, and we'll make calls to maybe 8,000 households, and we'll invite them to come downtown on the 4th of July. Last year, I think we had about 1,200 people come for the block party. And the same with Christmas. We'll put out a call and invite them to come. This could be, in a ministry where they're maybe starting a Bible study, or they're having a job training program, or they're doing something. It'd be a good piece of information to get back to people and invite them to your organization. So we get their phone, and similar with the email address. And you'll be surprised the people that are using email. I mean, homeless guys have email, and younger people have email. And so email is a very key piece of information. Again, building that picture of your client base. We have, are they married, single, divorced? We have that information. Who referred this person to your organization? Who are your partners? Who knows that you're there? And so, you know, government agencies, other churches, trustee's office, another parachurch organization. So there are many ways that people find out about the organization. And then emotional state. Now, this may sound unusual. What is the general emotional, the person sitting in front of you, what is their emotional state? Are they agitated? Are they depressed? Are they friendly? We ask that, and we keep track of that information. Maybe we find somebody always depressed or always angry. You know, we may ask them, listen, can we refer you over to the mental health services? You know, is there something that you're struggling with? Is there something we could pray about? So we want to keep track of their general attitude as they come through each time. Now, if the person was homeless, we wouldn't have put in any of the information about their address. We would just simply click that button. And a very important question here is, do you work? Now, that piece of information is going to play into our decision later on how we can help them. So they are working. Now, besides where they live and that information, we want to ask them some more information about their finances. And so the general question is, where do you get your finances? Well, I work. Okay, you work. How much are your wages a month? What do you usually get a month? Well, let's say that Bill is getting about $2,600 a month. Do you have any other income? You know, do you collect food stamps? If you're maybe a divorced mother, do you have child support? And so we're asking those kinds of questions. Now, that's the income. Now, the other column there is expenses. And so, you know, how much is do you have cable TV? What is your gas bill? What's your light bill? How much are you spending in your general budget? And so all that information is inputted. Now, why are we asking this information? Well, one reason we're asking this is they may need to have counseling on how to budget. A lot of people that are struggling, if a person's sitting in front of me asking for $8 worth of groceries, I think it's a fair question for me to ask, how are you handling your money? You know, are you budgeting your money correctly? And I'm not trying to get in anybody's business. I'm just saying that this is a very logical thing to ask. And so that's one of the reasons that we're asking the question. The second reason we're asking that question, the caregiver needs to make a decision. Can we help this person? Are we going to help this person today with food, or are we not? Now, there are times in all of our ministries where we are flooded. We have so much stuff coming in, we're trying to get rid of it, right? There are other times in all of our ministries when the shelves are bare. And we have many of those times. I believe God has called us to be good stewards with whatever He gives us. And so we are trying to make a wise decision. We don't want the food that we're giving away, we don't want it to be abused. We don't want people to take it out and sell it. We don't want people to misuse the stuff we're giving. And so we are trying to make a logical decision about how we can help this person. So we've looked at we've seen the picture ID. We see that they are the one paying the rent on the bill that they're showing us, or a utility bill. We see their amount of income, and it makes sense on the expenses. So we see that this person is the head of the household. And so with all that information given, we are going to decide we are going to help them. Okay, we're going to give them food today. Now, factored into this as well in our pantry is how many head of households are there in your household? Our rule is we give food to one head of household. So if we're going to give food, it only goes to one address. And so sometimes you may have several families living under one address. We will give food to the head of household. Now, what does that do for the rest of the people that are 18 and over in that household? Well, we're wanting to help them. And so they are welcome to come into our office and sit down and fill out a form like this. And we are going to have an opportunity to give them clothing. We can give them maybe hygiene. They're going to be able to walk by the giveaway table. But we are not going to be able to give them of groceries. We're not going to be able to give them a sack of food. A homeless person coming to us will receive a lunch. They'll receive hygiene products and clothing. But we do not give a homeless person a bag of groceries, simply because where are they going to cook it, where are they going to store it, and so forth. So again, we're trying to be good stewards with whatever God has given us. And so these questions, this process we're going through, is helping us make a wise decision. I think one of the things for a caregiver, they think, well, I don't know how to make the decision. I'm just scared of sitting there. What if I have to say no? Do I give it or not? This process really cuts through the decisions that need to be made, and it's just a very logical thing of helping somebody. And so that's why this is a helpful process. Now, we've gone through the visit page. We do want to see if they have any children. So we go to the dependents, and if they have children, which Bill does not have children, we can push add there just to see what would be needed. To put a dependent on a form, the person would have to be under the age of 18. We would have to see the Social Security card. They would tell us the birth date, and they would have to be within that household. Now, the relationships to the client would be the husband or wife, children, or it could even be an adopted child or a court-ordered child. And so we're very careful about the dependents on one form. Now, the system will check the dependents. So if two households are putting one child on both their forms, the system will pick that up. And so we only allow dependent in one household. So I have enough information to make a decision to help Bill or not. And so we are going to help Bill. He has shown everything that we've asked him to. So we're going to go to our food form. And the food form, we'll leave that page. The food form is the food that we have in our food pantry. And you'll see on the top that there are three categories. There's food, snack pack, which would be for a homeless person, and full order. So Bill will receive a full order. And then we'll go down and check mark the things that Bill will receive, or they'll do that when they go into the